Hey there, toy collector friends and Star Wars fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, that's the time travelling toy collector, and today we are looking at Star Wars The Mandalorian, Speeder Bike, Scout Trooper and Grogu. Although that last bit about Grogu, it's a little bit of a cheat, but you know, they've got it in the bag. What can I tell you? I'm just going to start by saying this is from The Mandalorian. There is also, I think, a vintage collection version that is more the Endor type of speeder bike, which I am tempted to get. The reason I got this one, if I'm brutally honest, is because looking at the pictures, the trooper, the Scout Trooper, is a bit more sandy weathered. And because I'm very mindful that I'm going to have a Cantina playset, a Tatooine Cantina playset. I'm kind of thinking, well, I know that this isn't actually Tatooine, but it would be the sort of thing I could use, and certainly the figure would be sort of applicable in that sort of sandy attire. So that's my thinking. I know I'm sort of merging Star Wars worlds here, but you know what? Why not? It's my world. It's my world now. So this is the packaging for this. So there's a picture. It comes with a little stand, which is very neat and nice. So it has a sort of a hover mode and a flight mode, from what I can see there. Very poseable figure. Again, I still remember my old Scout Trooper. I think my Scout Trooper, Imperial Scout Trooper, was one of my favourite figures from the original collection back in the 80s. So I'm really looking forward to seeing a retro collection. I think they've released them before, but I again, I didn't collect them then, and I'm after the box set versions. So I'm really hoping that one day in the near future, as I'm recording this in, I don't know the day, whatever this is, May 2025, I'm hoping one day in the future we will get a Return of the Jedi Scout Trooper retro collection figure within a Return of the Jedi retro collection box set. So my fingers are crossed for that. But yeah, there's the what's included is the carded figure. It does make it harder for me because it's a carded figure, because I still haven't uncarded my any of my other Star Wars figures from the vintage collection or the retro collection, despite the fact that I have, where I could, doubled up on the boxes, just so I could actually open them. But for some reason I've not done it. There's a little part of me that's resisting it, which is stupid, because that's the whole reason I invested in 2 boxes, is so that I could safely open the figures on one of them. So this is what we get inside. We get the Imperial Scout Trooper, the little bag with Grogu in it, which is ridiculous, his little scout pistol, and the speeder bike. Now, I don't know, and I don't see any hints or tips anywhere, so we'll see, because this is usually where you've got, you know, features. So the parking legs fold up, and the flaps work, which is like the original, because again, ironically, it was one of the smaller class of vehicles that we had back in the 80s. But I really loved the speeder bike. I love the speeder bike and I love the Scout Trooper. I don't know what it was about them, but I really liked that. And it was one of my favourite mini vehicles. And I also loved the fact it would blow apart. And I don't think, I mean, why should it? I mean, it does seem to open up and show bits. So there are moving panels, but it's whether or not we can actually, let's cut to the chase and find out. Let's get it open. There we go. And actually see what we have to work with in here. Yeah, I don't know whether it has those features. So we do have some instructions, and this bit which says don't eat the toy. So that's telling us that we can attach the figure to the top of the speeder bike. So that's groundbreaking. And on this side, it's that's a flip up engine. You attach the pack to the back, Okay, and you have various options, display options on the display stand. Okay, and a rather dubious picture of of how we insert it. Okay, I think the least said about that the better. But yeah, okay, so nothing, again, nothing really too telling on there. Let's get into this bit. Okay. Oh, okay, right you are. Well, let's just pop this out, just close this up so I can have it sort of neatly discarded in the back for ease, and I'll drop down slightly. Right, so here we have everything carded up in its little display box, and again, it's really fascinating to find myself in this situation because, as I say, it's been going back to collecting Star Wars was never something that was on my radar, actively not, because I just knew what I was like and I'd end up going down a very deep dark rabbit hole, so I've avoided it like the plague. Except now I haven't. Those retro collection figures and then a couple of vintage collection stuff has really pulled me in. It's pulled me in, and I'm not mad about it. So it doesn't actually look like as much as so much. So let's pop that there for a second. There's the stand. So we've got apparently different. So there's, okay, we'll work out the different positions later. And then this all just presumably pulls out. Yeah, tissue paper. And this is, I mean, again, there's something, I have to say it. Sorry, cardboard. We don't really eat the cardboard. It doesn't hang around. I know it seems, it must seem, and it's not been punched, but this is lovely. This is just a lovely figure, and I kind of, and there's cheating Grogu, the cheating Grogu figure tucked away in the bag there. If you can, I mean, maybe it's easier if I sort of zoom in rather than try and get you to. Can you see in there? I mean, he's in there. He's got his little cheeky face in there. Where is he? Hiding away. Little paw sticking out. Paw? Hand sticking out. But yeah, that's him in there. And there's his blaster. But yeah, I have to say that I really... the figure actually looks more weathered than the photo on the card. But I just the design of this particular Imperial uniform, I don't know what it was about it, but I really liked it. And there's the sort of the ankle holster for the pistol. So I'm get off. What's that? Is that looks like it's on the inside, whatever it is. Interesting. So there's the pistol holder, and there's the pistol up top by his helmet. Again, I really like the design of this. I can't pretend that I don't. But whether or not I take him off is another matter. But let's pop him there for now, and we can pick up this embalmed aspect of the product. So again, I can try and get it. So it is actually a little bag. So it's in a little bag. So that's cool. So it said that to attach this is already attached. So I don't understand that. But I am gonna start by saying this is lovely. It's very light and flimsy. There's the little cannon that was underneath. It doesn't move. I think it moved on the original one, but this seems to have a connection there that prevents it from moving. There does seem to be some really nice surface detailing under there. You can see the other protruding. I always took it to be a weapon, but maybe it was some sort of it was designed to act as a deflector beam for ease. Do these move? They don't move. They're not posable, but I think this must be the bit that lifts up. There we go. Yeah, So for access to the engine, it's not, I mean, it's got surface detailing but no paintwork, so it's just molded black plastic, which I'm ambivalent about, to be perfectly honest, but it's a nice little feature. Control panels there, which is, you know, nice, and it's not requiring a sticker. They are actually nicely molded and coloured in. And again, there is some nice weathering on the actual flanks of this thing. I did think maybe I've misread it, but I thought this did move. But of course you don't want to. Let me just get the instructions again. I don't want to damage or break it. Yeah, there's nothing on the instructions that suggests that they do. These flaps apparently can go up though. So we can move the flaps, which is always nice. You can see a bit of detailing on the inside there if I move the flaps around. So very, very nice there. But they're not linked to the stirrups. In fact, the stirrups don't seem to move at all. There's an engine intake valve there. So really nice. I'm assuming therefore it doesn't stand up by itself. So we've got various different positions on here. This will be we'll put it straight on the highest one, because then that gives us proper sort of flight mode, let's call it that. And so then I just have to gently maneuver, he says. I'm never comfortable with something like this, because I'm always extremely aware of the amount of pressure one has to apply, both to get it in and then to get it off. It just doesn't want to go in, and I'm going to try a different one. I don't care how high up I get it. Well, that's, you see, I just really actively not a fan of this kind of presentation stand, for exactly this reason. And if you're watching this going, just ram it in, I am actually using, there we go. I was going to say I'm actually using a fair bit of force, but it seems the force isn't strong enough. So let's get that out of the way. Although I could also just do it that way for a bit of different background colour. So this is, here we are with it now, and I mean it's definitely a nice posable set, which I'm very, 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 very pleased to have in my collection. The issue I've got, of course, and the real challenge that I've got, is this, because this lovely Scout Trooper, perfect for my needs, I have to unbox him. Let's see what's on the back. So there's the Scout Trooper. There's Cad Bane, who I've got in another 2-pack. A Cassian Andor, not in that outfit, but I do have him in another pack. Don't have any of the others. Again, Neon Numb was one of the ones I think it was a mail away for us, and that's another one that I'd love to get, both in terms of the original sort of retro collection approach, but also in terms of possibly a vintage collection, because then we can stick him in the cantina. Why not? I want them all in the cantina. It's going to be so busy in there. Yeah, the challenge, the emotion is real. I really love having him carded, but you know, this of course is why people end up buying 2 of things, and it's a real catch-22 situation, because things start to, you know, disappear from shelves or from online retailers because people are purchasing more than one. But they're purchasing more than one because they want to have one to keep nice and one to actually take out and play with. And I think, you know, and I totally get that, but then it sort of creates this artificial, well, it's not even artificial really, is it? But it's a slightly artificial a market position where things end up becoming scarce because people want to have a nice one and want to have one to play, sort of to play with or display, and etc. So I do see the challenge, but equally I don't think that challenge should push up market prices for things like this. I just don't. But maybe that's me being unrealistic. So yes, part of me was thinking I'm just going to take this off and use it for the speeder bike. But once you see him, you kind of go, I mean, I could always try and do it in such a way that I can restore it to what it was afterwards. But I don't know. I might see if I can just get a loose one online. Failing that, of course, I default to the exact position I was just talking about and end up buying a second one of these. You know, I mean, again, it's not hugely expensive currently, so it's probably the right time to do it. The price for the entire set is probably what I'd pay for a standalone figure in a few years, because they're all gone. But then I go down that rabbit hole of starting to collect Star Wars figures, which of course wasn't actually my intention. Although they're so easy to fall back in love with. It's a curse. It's an absolute curse. But I don't think I'm going to do it here. If I do start to unbox these figures for the arrival of the HasLab Cantina, then I think I'll do it. I'll do a video doing it so that you can share my pain and watch along whilst I do that. But yeah, it's a painful thought. But I really do love this. I think this is a really nice iteration of the speeder bike. I think it's nice that it's slightly different to the Endor one. Again, I did have the original. God knows whatever happened to that. I dread to think, really. I might look at getting the Endor one, but we'll have to see. And yeah, I really love that figure. I've always loved that figure, but I almost, and this is completely counterintuitive, but I almost slightly like it less, which doesn't make sense, in its vintage collection, more articulated form, because it's just not what I'm used to. That said, don't get me wrong, I do think this is gorgeous. I really do. And I also see that they're going to do, they're releasing a triple pack of Imperial troops, which again, I'm giving serious thought to that as well, because but then I'll be in the same boat. I'll get that and won't want to open it. What an absolute palaver. Anyway, thank you for spending the last 13-14 minutes with me whilst I've taken this out of the box. You've been a wonderful audience. If you've enjoyed looking at some of these things, you know, with me here, then please do like the video, and it would be fantastic if you could drop the channel a completely free subscription. It's also obligation free. You don't have to watch all the content, but if you have a particular line of interest, which might be Star Wars, it might be Doctor Who, it might be Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Doctor who knows, it could be any number of things. Have a look around the channel. You may find other things that tickle your fancy, wet your whistle, and stimulate your appetite for more. So by all means, feel free to do that. As I say, if you could drop a subscription, it would really help me get to my next subscriber milestone, which would be amazing. But no problem if not. I'm just happy that you joined me for this video. I've been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You've been a wonderful audience, and this has been the Star Wars The Mandalorian Scout Trooper and Grogu tucked away in the bag, complete with speeder bike as it appeared in the Mandalorian TV series. I'll hopefully see you in a future, or possibly a past video, and it just remains for me to say that things of beauty really are toys forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.